Greetings and welcome to episode 208 of the Words About Gamescast, the weekly video game podcast for Words About Games. I'm your host, Amy Kate Alexander. I'm joined this week by the glorious one, Mr. Daffyd Moody. How you doing? You getting your cardio in? That's cardio, right? Like, that's still cardio.
Moving, basically doing stuff, yeah.
Because it's like weights and cardio.
Yeah, and no, cardio is not weights, because that's weights. Because you're trying to burn, you burn your fat, basically.
Right. I definitely need to do more cardio
then. So just do this for our episode.
Just do this. Just do this. I've turned you up this week, Mooney.
Oh, you turned me up. You couldn't hear me last week?
No, on Thursday. You know, when we did the E3 thing, you could still hear you. You were just a bit quieter because I'd been recording like literally before we sat down to do that video. I'd been recording gameplay footage, and I always have the volume down when I'm recording footage and when I'm streaming games, obviously. And I was editing the video, and I was like, Moody seems really quiet. And then I still had OBS open, and I looked across at OBS, and I was like, like I saw the volume slider, and I was like, that'll be why.
Some might have called that a good thing.
No, it was fine. You could still hear you. Like, apart from the few times where obviously because like normally when we talk over each other, you can hear like both of us. But in that episode, when I started talking over you, you could only hear me because your volume was like.
You drowned me out, Amy.
What I need to do. What I need to do. Like, I feel like I've stuck notes up before where it's like check the audio levels before every podcast. I need to stick a note up again somewhere where I'm not going to take it down or it's going to fall off. But I feel like I also need you to do that so you can tell me so that I've got the maximum possible chance of not accidentally leaving you too quiet.
Remind Amy?
Because when you're streaming a game, because it was when I was playing Resident Evil, right? So after I was playing Resident Evil, and I started the settings up. When you're streaming a game, you have the game turned down so people can hear you off the top of the game. But the same, you talking on a podcast is the same audio source.
There we go. That helps.
Remind Amy to turn my volume up. Yeah, that works.
There we go. Huzzah!
That's exactly what I do. Every week. Every week, every time we sit down to do a podcast. Little bit of housekeeping, I guess. If you're going to tune in to episode 209 next week, looking for our PS5 reveal impressions, because that's happening on this Thursday, you won't find them, because we're doing an entirely separate video that's going to come out on the Friday. So keep an eye out for that if you want to see those, because we'll just be doing a regular old podcast. Actually, it won't be regular old because there's still like 6 million other events happening that aren't PS5 revealed. So, you know, we're talking about all sorts of games and probably very little news. Because this is the Words About Gamescast, where every single week we discuss what's been going on in gaming, the games industry, and gaming culture over the past 7 days before we take a little look at the future. In this week's episode, we discuss the news, including The Last of Us Part 2's recent gameplay reveal. Wow, I've typed that. Fucking mastered the English language with that sentence, haven't I? Gameplay. We try that again. In this week's episode, we discuss the news, including The Last of Us Part 2's recent gameplay reveal, all the games shown at the lovely Wholesome Direct, the Fast and Furious Crossroads gameplay reveal, and more, including more gameplay reveals. Then we'll go over all the new game announcements, release dates, and delays that happened over the past 7 days, give you a content drop where we recommend some articles you should read and some videos you should watch, tell you what games are coming out over the next week, before playing OpenCritic head-to-head, where we guess the OpenCritic average of one upcoming game. And as always, we'll wrap the show up with a post-show discussion and chat about whatever's on our minds. It's fun. There's timestamps in the description below the video on YouTube, so you can skip around this podcast, watch specific sections of it, watch it in a different order, watch it backwards. We don't mind. we're just happy that you're here. Alongside those links, as always, alongside those links, I'm also going to put a couple of links to the George Floyd Memorial Fund and the Minnesota Bail Fund. And if you can support either of those fundraisers in any way, that would be cool, because, well, I was trying to think of a way to say this gracefully, but like very few times I've been speechless, and it's like watching the police violence in America over the last few days, has left me speechless. But I also felt like I wanted to say something, despite not having any of the words to say something. So the links are down there to they're designed to support George Floyd's family or anyone else who's been impacted by the incredibly over-the-top police violence of the last few days. So you should check those out.
Go and give them some love, ladies and gentlemen. They deserve it.
Black Lives Matter.
They do indeed.
Should we talk about some video games?
Yes.
Yeah, let's talk about some video games. This is sure to lighten the mood, because Naughty Dog and PlayStation showed off, it was like a 20-minute state of play around The Last of Us Part 2, including a lengthy gameplay section, never before seen, brand new. And I didn't watch it at first, Moody. I didn't watch it at first because I was streaming Resident Evil 3 over at twitch.tv/wordsaboutgames, but I wasn't planning on watching it because I subscribe to the idea of, if you to the old saying, Moody. It's an old saying. If you've already made the sale, stop selling. And it's I'm sold on The Last of Us Part 2. I mean, I have been for a while.
Yeah.
I don't need any more story trailers. I need to see more gameplay. It's I know, even back in January, The Last of Us Part 2, my most anticipated game of the year, your most anticipated game of the year.
Yeah.
But then I watched it because I was like, fuck, it's there. It got recommended to me on my YouTube algorithm. And I was like, yeah, well, it's not, at least YouTube's not recommending me some kind of fucking alt-right fucking nonsense for a change. So yeah, sure, I'll watch this. Click. Watched it. It's good. It was really good. It was really good.
Yeah. That's to say, the Vita lives, ladies and gentlemen. It lives, even in the post-apocalyptic, it lives still. Playing Hotline Miami, apparently, which is fantastic. It's a great game. Go on.
It is a great game.
This was a kick in the nuts in a good way, because of how brutally realistic it was. The characters, the characteristic what you had with from Ellie alone is absolutely fabulous. The seeing what the little they've like, a lot of people consider Last of Us was practically a perfect game for a lot of people. Always at least minimum of high 9s always for a lot of people. I know some people didn't like it, and that's fair. There's nothing wrong. It's all subjective. Don't worry about it. I don't mind if you didn't like it. But I loved it. I loved Last of Us first, Last of Us. But there were always, but even I noticed there was a couple of things that you could know they could tweak, but they were more nitpicks than anything.
Yeah, it was like polished stuff. It was like stuff to polish up.
Now they've took those nitpicks and they've seemed like, going off what we saw from this 20-minute gameplay. Yes, until we play it, we do not know, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like they've ironed them out superbly, and that is fantastic, and I cannot wait to play this. I am hoping to be able to have a PlayStation and to have it. I'm going to possibly lend it from a friend of mine. We'll social distance swap it. He brings it to his garden, and he goes back in, and I'll go out and grab it and leg it, basically.
And run.
But yeah, this was incredible. It was absolutely incredible, and I just loved it. I can't wait for this game.
No, me neither. Last of Us Part 1, I guess. Obviously, I never had a PS3, so I had to wait for the game to come to PS4. And it was one of my favorite games of that year, 2014, which wasn't difficult. 2014, not a great year for video games, but Last of Us Part, I remember saying, The Last of Us Remastered, if it wasn't a port, like from PS3 that was released in an earlier year. It would have been my game of the year by like a country mile, but it wasn't because them's the rules that I subscribe to anyway. And oh my god, like watching the part 2 gameplay, like number one, I cheered, Moody, I cheered when I saw the PlayStation Vita. You know,
I think Vita purists all did.
You know, I love that little handheld. Like, it brought me so much joy. And just seeing it in there, like the last Vita owner in the world in the post-apocalypse gets brutally murdered.
Yeah.
But she was there.
Brutally.
She was there. Everybody gets brutally murdered. It was tough.
Like, during that gameplay, I was expecting her to pick the Vita up.
Just put it in.
Yeah. I've got some time to play this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going off on what Neil Druckmann says. This one is hate. That's the theme they've gone off, and you feel it. You feel it. You really do, especially just from Ellie alone. Whatever has happened, guess or whatever, or look at the leaks if you want to. If you want to be that stupid, that's fine. But whatever has happened, for her to go on this rage-induced revenge attack has hit her so hard that you've pissed off one of the most deadliest women on the planet. And that's a thing to be feared, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah, she's basically like the Terminator. Like, the last, like, the combat, like, just looking at the combat in The Last of Us Part 2, it's really uncomfortable. Like, the level of violence and the level of brutality in the violence is really uncomfortable. But so is The Last of Us Part 1. I keep wanting to call it Part 1 now. You know, it's just The Last of Us. But in the combat in The Last of Us, like, was also really uncomfortable to play. It was like really uncomfortably like in your face, like you could feel it almost, like when you were hitting people, shooting people, doing whatever. But I thought that was the point of the one of the points of the game, where it's like it's not glorifying violence. Like violence is like horrible, like smashing someone's head in with a bat. Or like stabbing them in the throat. It is horrible, and I like the fact that The Last of Us doesn't shy away from that.
And it shouldn't,
It's nice when games don't shy away from the fact that like these are horrible things to do. I keep saying the word horrible, like open a dictionary, a thesaurus, Amy. Like, jeez, use a different word. Horrific. There you go. It's
horrendous.
Horrendous. But no, I really appreciate it. Like, I really appreciate it when games do that. That's why I talk all the time about Spec Ops: The Line, for example. But like The Last of Us, which is a great game, by the way, Spec Ops: The Line, you should definitely play it. Everybody should. But in terms of like The Last of Us Part 2, like I loved what I saw. Like, it's going to be a difficult game to play, like for that reason. And from some of the other stuff we've seen from some of the other trailers, like there's going to be a level of violence in this game that is. It's not gonna shy away from. But I'm down for it because, like, I like Naughty Dog from playing Uncharted 4, from playing The Last of Us, and from playing Uncharted Lost Legacy, and also from playing the Nathan Drake collection a few years ago. Like, they've got all the benefit of the doubt for me of like your storytelling has always been to a certain level where it's like, like I know you're going somewhere with this, and I know you have a point. With this, so like, I'm in. I was in before, but I'm somehow like more in now than I was before.
Yeah, and I loved hearing. It's not on the doc or anything like that, and obviously a lot of people are come out. It's so Sony are going to say this and everything like that, but Sony have come out and said. This is still pre-ordered incredibly well for them, and which is fantastic to hear, even after after the thing with the leaks and everything. And they are so confident. Them and Naughty Dog are so confident about this game that you're going to hear the reviews a week before the game comes out, ladies and gentlemen. That's confidence. They did this with God of War, and everyone was like, "Why are the reviews coming out this early for God of War?" And then when you played it, it was just like. Okay, I get it.
Because
yes, this is
legit.
A masterpiece of a game. Yeah,
best game of the generation, like for me so far.
And that's fabulous to think and everything.
It's fabulous to think, but it annoys me a little bit that there are people out there right now, right this second as we're speaking, playing The Last of Us Part 2, and all I can do is watch the gameplay reveal over and over again. Feels bad.
Damn you, other critics.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's irritating, but now it's only
It's the nature of
3 weeks away.
the
3 weeks
world.
away.
It's
Reviews will come out in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I can live that long. Maybe. Depends. Pandemic. Hopefully. But
Will be good.
yeah, like, it was always going to pre-order well. Like, we had a discussion about something Xbox and PlayStation related that I'm not going to rehash on the podcast. On the live stream last night, where it was like, yeah, it's like the leaks have happened, and a lot of people have seen them. But again, like that sort of stuff will just miss the casual audience completely. Like they won't see those leaks. They won't know what's going to happen in The Last of Us Part 2. And that's not going to phase them at all. And anyone who's played The Last of Us, which is a lot of people, judging by like how the game is sold, is going to be into The Last of Us Part 2. But it also, like, it's also their pre-order numbers, like it drills into this other thing. And I remember talking about this a few years ago with Keith, when we were talking about Persona 5 and how well Persona 5 sold when it came out. And as I pointed out, like, he bought that game because I was telling him to buy that game, because Persona 4 Golden on PS Vita was like one of my, like, I love that game. And what I said to Keith was that's how the word of mouth works, right? Like, I feel like everybody knows somebody who had a good impression of Persona 4. And so I was then telling people, hey, Persona 5's coming to PlayStation 4, like, not Vita or anything like that. Get it. And then that happened, and the sales were really good. And that's the same with The Last of Us Part 2. Where it's like, I think everybody knows somebody who loves The Last of Us. And the last we'll be like hyping The Last of Us Part 2 up to no end. I think that's one of the things that'll be driving the numbers, the pre-order numbers. And also I just think the whole controversy, like, yeah, the leaks might affect a few people buying the game for legitimate reasons. Like, there's a lot of people who are complaining about the content of the leaks because it's feminist agenda or whatever nonsense like that they're spouting. It's like, that's insignificant. Those people were probably never going to buy the game anyway because, you know, they've been complaining about that for years, even before the leaks, or they're going to complain about it but still buy the game because they're not going to want to miss out on one of the biggest game releases of the year.
Yep.
Because that's what
they want to be in that conversation so they can be a part of it somehow.
FOMO, right? Like, they're either never going to buy the game or they're going to buy the game anyway. I think it's going to sell well. I don't think it's going to sell Animal Crossing well. Or COD, but it'll definitely be up there.
It's going to sell incredibly well. We know it is. It might even sell just that little bit better because of the pandemic going on right now. Like I say, I think we all know Animal Crossing sold incredibly well, but it sold incredibly well, even better than Nintendo thought it was going to because of the pandemic, because no one was doing anything. I think we needed something to distract ourselves. That came out perfectly. This is the same thing, which is exciting, and hopefully, yes, a lot of people. The only knocked off, I think, for the main people, forget about the whiny people who have seen leaks and all that crap. The only thing I think could hold people back from not getting this game is it's just because it's an apocalyptic game. We're in a pandemic. They might think that's too close to home, which I can completely respect and understand if they didn't want to see that, but that's all right. But this is going to sell incredibly well, and I think it'll probably sell even better than I think Sony are probably like predicting it to sell.
Yeah, I agree. I know Ghost of Tsushima is a month later, like it's 4 weeks afterwards, but I feel like for a lot of people, in a lot of people's minds, like The Last of Us Part 2 is like, this is the last big PlayStation 4 game. This is the PlayStation 4 going out, like, in style. It's obviously not. Ghost of Tsushima is also coming out, but for a lot of people, The Last of Us is where it's at. That's going to help, where it's just like, this is the last big thing. Like, that's going to happen on PS4, and then it's like, now we look forward to PS5.
This is the thing everyone has been waiting for when they first saw that teaser for the Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah, like, this is like we tried, like, obviously at the beginning of the year when we sat down to do our most anticipated games of 2020, and The Last of Us was up there, but like, we as gaming YouTube people only do those kinds of lists on like yearly formats. But like since it was revealed, it's been one of my most anticipated games. Like just waiting for it to come out because it's The Last of Us Part 2. Fucking love The Last of Us. Like God of War 2 is also one of like my most anticipated games, but God knows when that's coming out.
Maybe we'll see something on Thursday.
I lose it though. Like you want to be in that Discord call with me because I'll fucking go apeshit.
Oh, I'm gonna be in the Discord call. Don't you worry, I'll be there.
It'll be Shenmue 3 all over again. Which is it's an infamous moment between me, Keith, Russell, and it was before we were live streaming like our reactions and stuff. And I was sat at this desk. Actually, the desk used to be over there, on the other side of the room. Sat over there, PlayStation conference up, and we were just on Steam voice chat. We were just like chatting away, talking to each other while watching it. Final Fantasy VII had just happened. And I was quite excited for that.
You were already hyped. Yeah,
I was already hyped. And then there was like an indie game thing in between the two. And then like I was watching it and we were just chatting about Final Fantasy, not about the Devolver Digital indie games. Like, come on. And we were chatting away and not really paying attention to what was happening on the screen. And I think I heard the first 4 bars of the music when it started, and my brain went, that's Shenmue. And so I was like, they were chatting away about Final Fantasy, and I just went, shut up. And they were like, what? Because it was just raining like cherry blossoms. And I was like, it's fucking Shenmue. And everyone was like, it's not fucking Shenmue. Can't be Shenmue. And then Yu Suzuki comes up on the screen, and I was like, it's fucking Shenmue. And I went ape.
Yeah, that's what I love about games. Like, personally, I've never played a Shenmue game or anything like that, but seeing people get the happiness of those type of games and other happiness, like I love seeing the reactions, from a friend of ours for Resident Evil. Like from his reaction for Resident Evil 2 was epic. I absolutely loved and adored it when I saw it. I was thinking, oh my god, that's fantastic. He's got what he wanted, and it thankfully paid off for him as well because the game was fantastic. Those type of things were absolutely. Absolutely,
I love that shit. Like, that's the thing. Like, I know I don't really live stream my reactions to stuff anymore, but I love watching people's reactions to stuff. Like, it's fucking awesome. Like, Easy Allies, when they were game trailers, go and watch their reaction to Final Fantasy VII Remake. And Shenmue 3, like, back to back. It's like, I still watch that sometimes.
How did this not leak?
Cal Bossman's like climbs on his chair, just like, what are you doing? Like,
you maniacs!
He was like, take everything, take everything I have. Like, I love those guys.
Yeah.
Go check both of those out. YouTube.com/MCFixer, YouTube.com/EasyAllies. Love them both. Let's pull up. So the Last of Us, it's pretty depressing to talk about, even though it's a phenomenal game with a phenomenal story and phenomenal characters. Let's pull up maybe, because something else happened last week, and it was like a warm hug. It was like the warm hug we needed right before the dark times.
Yeah. How crazy is that? Oh god, I shouldn't be laughing. I really shouldn't. I apologize to anybody. For good god.
The Wholesome Direct, which I've been looking forward to, like, it was like a month ago, I think. It was announced, and I was like, this sounds like it's going to be one of the best things to come out of the summer of gaming.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you what, right now, where we're sitting here, May 31st, June 1st, for when the podcast goes live, like, it is the best thing we've seen so far. It was just, They did what I've been telling Sony and Microsoft to do, Moody. They shamelessly ripped off Nintendo. The format was a Nintendo Direct. And you know what? It fucking worked perfectly. 2 people talking, sometimes back and forth, all of us in game trailers. It was perfect. And there was a lot of standouts. And it was just so nice. Like, all of the games that we saw were just so nice. I made a list. Laura Kate Dale actually went through the Wholesome Direct and just had made a Twitter thread, which was really helpful. to sort of like remembering what stuff was, where she just went every single game that came up in chronological order. She just tweeted about which one every single one was. But what did you think of the actual direct itself? Mood.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
Like I said, it was like you said at the beginning. It was like a big old warm hug. Like we all needed it. The games were just nothing but smiles. It's just like these games you can see they were made with care, which I'm not saying all games aren't. I'm sure all games are and everything like that. But they were just made with some amazing care. You could see the energetic and the smiles from the enthusiasm from the voices alone. And then when you saw people, it was just like, yeah, these are just all cutesy, nice little warm hugs, which you all need. Sometimes you just need a simple, like one of the biggest indie games that came out at the end of PlayStation 3 was Journey, and it's like an hour long or 2 hours max, and you're like, I would pay a full price game for that. I would pay 60 quid for that, easy, anytime. I would happily pay that, and it's like, and it was just like. When I played that, at the end of it, I was crying. I had no idea why I was crying. I was like, what the hell does this game just do to me? I don't know why.
Wow.
And that's still to this day, I'm like, I don't know what it did to me, but I'm just like, my life's like, the feels and everything like that. And this was it. They were just like all little teddy bears just hopping on, like Care Bears hopping onto your body, just giving you little hugs. Every game they showed you, that's what it was. And it was so fantastic. I love this thing. Like you said, it is the best thing that's been shown out of this Summer Game Fest thingy, whatever. Like, because they weren't a part of the Game Fest thingy, I know.
The Game Fest thing, we had a long talk about it in our group chat on the day, I think. And it's like the Game Fest, like, calendar, the things that they're putting in it, it's weird. It doesn't have everything. It's very strange. But This is why I haven't been calling it Summer Game Fest. I've been using the Summer of Gaming thing that we used before everything had a name.
That's fair.
Just to make it sort of a general thing. And it's like, yeah, this is the best thing that we saw, like, so far, hands down. Like, yeah, the games are wholesome and the games are cute, and they're emotional and they're all sorts of different things. But like a lot of them are legit, like really good looking games too. Like, I've played some of them, because some of them have been a part of past Steam Game Fests. Like, there's been 2 so far since last year, and some of them were demos that I played. Some of these are games that I've followed along with for quite a while. So I've got some standouts from what was shown. Like, the list on here is helpful to remind me what was there. I don't know if you had if you have any standouts, any games that really stuck into your mind.
Just like all little bundles of joy.
Just
all of them stood out for me. Yeah, they really are. I just want to shout out the lady you get from the Twitter feed at Laura K Buzz. Go and give her some love, ladies and gentlemen. She's absolutely a fantastic person in gaming and in games journalism. Yep. So if you ever want to get some advice from her, she will give it to you.
She's a great YouTuber, great streamer, great writer.
Yeah.
She does really helpful things like this. Like, just makes a thread.
She's a fabulous lady.
Yeah, she's tremendous. So I'll talk about a couple of games that stood out to me. Ooblets is the first obvious one because I've been following along with this game for fucking years, and it's been coming pretty soon for years. It's a world full of tiny creatures, farming mechanics, and dancing, as it's written here. It's adorable. It's come up at every E3 for the past few years, and every time I've been sat next to Keith on a couch somewhere, and I've just gone, Ooblets! And every time he just looks at me like, did you really need to shout? And it's like, yeah, I really need to fucking shout. Look at them. Yeah. Look at them! Where's the game?
Now give me the game!
Give me it!
Did you get a date for it?
Coming pretty soon to early access. On Xbox One and Epic Games Store. Pretty soon. That's what it says.
That's cool.
It's been soon for a while, man. That's all I'm going to say. Another couple of the shout-outs I've played. 2 games that I've played. Chicory, A Colourful Tale, which is a game about a tiny animal artist of the same name wielding a magic paintbrush which can colour the world. Chicory goes missing, and the colour vanishes too. You play our biggest fan, colouring the world back in. which is a really nice game. So yeah, you get this magic paintbrush, and literally the whole world's black and white, and you can run around, and you can you unlock colors as you're going along, and you can literally just paint the whole world in. But there's also gameplay mechanics tied to it, where it's you put paint on a light, it lights up the thing. There's battle mechanics, there's boss battles, there's creatures to battle in the world. I think the demo will probably be available next week, because there's the Steam Summer Game Fest.
Yeah,
it's happening next week, and the other one is Spiritfarer, which again I've played the demo for. You help ferry the deceased in the afterlife. Build a boat, care for spirit friends, guide them across the seas before releasing them into the afterlife. And you're talking about journey made you cry. And I was playing this demo for this, and you don't get to see the end of it, but basically the demo was one of the characters, and that's on your boat. There's 3 characters in the demo, and you have to. It's teaching you how to build, because you build buildings on this boat that do different things, where you can grow vegetables and cook stuff to help you out, and you can fish and catch lightning. And you go to a port, and you find this person's locket, which she left in her old house, something like that. And then you get it for her, you bring it back, and then it's she says, "Okay, I think it's time for me to cross over." And you go to wherever you go to for people to cross over, and that's where the demo ended. But I could also feel myself getting a bit emotional just from that. Where it's because you're helping people cross over into death, fulfilling their last wish, and then they go on and they move on to whatever's next. There's a hug button in the game, already, dedicated interaction with any character on your boat. You walk up to them, you can talk to them, you can give them something, or you can just hug them, and it's really sweet. I'm gonna cry my eyes out playing this game. I know it. I said that when we talked about it after last E3. I said, this game's going to make me cry. I can feel it. And I always want to say...
Those are the best ones, I think. I think those are some of the best games, so...
I also want to say shout out to Spiritfarer for being the game that had to follow Keanu Reeves at E3 2019.
It was truly breathtaking.
Yeah. What else stood out to me? Mondo Museums...
I was just about to shout that one. I really like the look of that one.
Yeah, it's a building sim about trying to craft and create a museum. Coming to early access on Steam in 2020. Yeah. That one struck out at me as I could play this shit out of this. You get to know what it's like to be Blathers moody. Essentially, it's a game about being Blathers. What else? Obviously, all these games were really good. I'm just trying to remember which ones actually jumped out. Garden Story would look like a cool one. Single-person developed title. Lots of adorable fruit and veg characters. You're a village guardian. Rebuild a broken island. Make friends. Explore and defend. Calico.
I like this one. Rainy Season, a game about a family simply spending time together in their house, unable to head outside. Oh, there's a stick figure whispering monster ghost hanging out in a cupboard. I saw that and I was thinking that was really adorable as well.
That does look cool. Calico, slice of life game about being an anime magic girl, rebuilding a cat cafe and filling it with cute cats, releasing October 2020. On PC and consoles. That was an indie game of the week a couple of weeks ago. On youtube.com/wordsaboutgamesuk. Which is why it stood out to me, because I'd literally recorded a video about it a few weeks ago. There was tons of cool games. Spirit the Mouse looked really cool. Snacko looked really cool.
Little Witch in the Woods.
Button City. De Penware Nocturne. Is that how you pronounce it? De Penware Nocturne.
I think so.
De Penware Nocturne. But yeah, go check it out. Wholesome Games Direct. Just search it on YouTube, you'll find it. It's worth watching.
Wholesome, youtube.com/wholesome games, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah, go and give them a love. They all deserve it.
Yeah.
Like to see all these games are just little balls of joy, little hugs. Go and give them all some love, ladies and gentlemen. They deserve it.
They do. It was a great show, full of great games.
Do you want me to say the perfect segue, no?
I mean, I was going to say something pretty good, but if you think you've got the perfect segue...
Let's drive into some Fast and Furious.
I was going to make a knock about. I was going to make a really sarcastic comment about imperfect games, but I like yours.
Yours is better. No, mine sucked.
Yours is relevant to the topic. Mine is just mean. Like, it's a bit mean. Is as accurate as it is. It's a bit mean because we're going to talk about Fast and Furious Crossroads. I had a gameplay reveal 2 days before it was due to come out. I had a gameplay reveal, and they delayed the game till August. It's a good thing they did because it was like, where's the game's coming out on the 29th? And it didn't, obviously. Like we talked about it last week on the podcast where I was like, it's not coming out. Like, we just don't know why they haven't said it's not coming out. And yeah, they showed some gameplay for it. It was like the Last of Us situation where I was like, I wasn't going to watch this. And then I did. Immediately after the Last of Us. Gameplay thing. Boy. That sure is a PS2 game.
Oh, hell yeah. I have to confirm still, I have not watched all of this. Like, when I spoke to you about it, I literally watched about a couple of minutes of it, and then I was just like, nope, I'm out. And I still to this day, it just looked terrible. So you can literally take from me, I literally take what my opinion is of it as a pinch of salt because I haven't watched it all. But going off what Amy's said, it doesn't look like it improved, ladies and gentlemen. So
it didn't. No,
it was a giant garbage truck on fire just for the couple of minutes I watched. So I'm just like, Jesus, man.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I made a crack about it being a PS2 game. I'm not just talking about in terms of graphics. All the graphics do look dated, but whatever. Graphics don't make a game. I'm talking about gameplay style as well. Like, this is a very, very basic game. Like, from what they showed us, you're in cars. It's like Midnight Club. Was that the thing on PS3?
I think so. On Midnight Run.
Midnight Club. Arcade-style racing video games inspired by a gang similar to Midtown Madness with a focus on competitive street racing. Okay, so it's not quite that because it wasn't street racing. You're literally doing this fucking weirdest shit ever, man, in video games. Like, it starts off and you've got a fucking machine gun stuck to the top of your car and you're shooting shit. There was a bit where there was like
Smuggler's Run,
maybe
something like that. But that's the first place. That's the PlayStation 2.
I'm talking about Fast and Furious now. Like,
yeah,
the machine gun thing is from Fast and Furious, and like there's like a bit later on where there's this chasing, I think, like some sort of weird rocket thing, and it's got all these jet engines, and you've got to shoot the jet engines with the thing. There's a tank, and you've got the things in your wheels, you know, the like spike things or whatever, and you've got to ram with the tank. It's like, what is this game? And then it's like it's packaged with like Resident Evil levels of voice acting, like from like, and these are the actual actors from Fast and Furious. Vin Diesel, Michelle Rodriguez, Tyrese, like, they're in the game. And they're giving a performance, I would legitimately say, on a par with the voice actors from the original Resident Evil. Like,
you almost became a Jill sandwich.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah. Stop it! Don't open that door! Like, that's the level of... And it was just like, the graphics, the gameplay, the voice acting, and the whole thing. I was just sat there going, the only hope this game has to be any sort of a hit is if it's so bad, it's really entertaining. In how bad it is.
Basically, yeah.
Like, it's not going to be a good game. Like, the worst thing that could happen for this game now is if it's just bad. Like, if it's just a mediocre driving game. Like, it needs to embrace its cheesiness, and it needs to embrace how terrible it looks, and just go all in on just being so bad. People kind of love it. Because we've all got games like that where it's like, this game is terrible, but fuck if it isn't kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, this is the thing that closed Game Awards last year, and everyone was still questioning it then. And it didn't look good then. And they've had now 6 months now to get it sorted, or at least improve it in some sort of way. Which, no offense to Codemasters, they haven't done that, and I love Codemasters. They bring out one of my favorite games, one of my most played games, should I say, every year in F1 in the F1 games, and you can literally see this was probably a secondary crew doing this type of game behind where the main ones were obviously doing probably Dirt and obviously creating the new F1
Well,
game.
this is by Slightly Mad Studios, so they're the developer. So they made Project Cars and Need for Speed Shift.
Oh, I thought it said Codemasters for some weird reason.
Codemasters is publish. Codemasters are publishing it. Slightly Mad Studios.
Okay,
Codemasters bought Slightly Mad Studios last year, I want to say.
Okay, so that's where I'm getting my wires crossed then. Yeah, I didn't finish watching it last time, so like my opinion's very small on it.
Like, it baffles me how like a studio that's like known for making car games, pretty good ones from what I've heard, like Project Cars. Like, I hear people really love Project Cars.
Yeah.
And it's like, I look at this and I'm like, how can this be made by the same people who made like a really well-respected driving sim?
Yeah.
Like, this feels like, do you know what it feels like? This feels like, do you remember like 15 years ago? Whenever there was a licensed video game, there was a movie coming out, so we had to have a video game tie-in. The video game tie-in was developed in like 8 months. Yeah. And it was terrible. Like, that's what this feels like. This just feels like a game that was developed to be released alongside Fast and Furious 9. And it doesn't matter if it's good or not, it just needs to be a Fast and Furious game.
That's the thing about it, which is really confusing to me, why they took them for so long to talk about this game again, because I'm like, obviously, for a long, long time now, for a good 2 months, we've known the next Fast and Furious was been delayed until next year now. So I'm like, so why? It's confusing to me why they just didn't delay the game as well, but not. They wanted to get this game out so the team could move on to their next true project that they wanted to do, and I'm guessing delaying it a year would have obviously not guessing, we know delaying it for delaying the Fast and Furious game another year would have put that project back, and they obviously, I'm guessing, didn't come to an agreement to say yes, we can do this or anything. So yeah, and it's gonna go out. The game's gonna get thrown out. I honestly. And whatever they make from it is going to be something, I guess. But if this even gets like, I'll be surprised if this even gets 6s. I really do. I'll be very surprised. This is not average to below that, and I don't wish that, because I want all developers to put out great games. But this just screams terrible. It screams out terrible.
Again, it has that potential to hit so bad it's entertaining levels, which could help it out. Like Deadly Premonition, like someone posted this out actually on Twitter over the past week. Like, the original Deadly Premonition has a 10 out of 10 on Destructoid and a 2 out of 10 on IGN, because it's one of the most divisive games. Like, if you go and look at Deadly Premonition on Metacritic, it's got 10s, it's got 1s, like it's got everything in between, because the game was really kind of bad. Like, the tank controls, the driving, like, there was a lot about that game that was really just kind of terrible, but at the same time, it was awesome. Like, the story was really cool, the characters were really weird, like, the cutscenes were crazy, like, and as someone, I played that game, I loved that game, it was on my Game of the Year list in 2010, like it's kind of bad, but kind of awesome. And that's where I feel like Fast and Furious wants to try and land, I think. That's the only place it can land at this point.
I think it's trying to land it. I don't think it'll hit.
I just feel like it's a mediocre. I feel like it looks like it's just a mediocre, like, licensed game that I thought we were done with those. Like, yeah. But apparently it doesn't look like we are.
Yeah, it'll catch a little bit probably for the general gaming audience who are just like, oh, Fast and Furious for a game, cool. I love those films. I'll get that. Why not? And everything like that. But other than that, I can't see us.
Yeah, and fair play if people like it. Like,
yeah.
I know people who like Aliens, Colonial Marines, and while I can't understand that,
we don't talk about those.
Yeah, well, I can't understand that. I just sort of say, yeah, okay, fair enough. Like,
those people don't exist. I'm sorry.
This is a person who also replied to my tweet of like, what should I play as a retrospective review of X? And if, like, the 3 options, like, with three very beloved video games, The Last of Us, Final Fantasy 9, Bloodborne. And this is a person who replied to that by saying, you should do Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2. And I was like, no, just the first Lords of Shadow. And I was like, you don't want me to do that. Because I'm guessing you really like that game. And I played that game when it came out, and I fucking hated it. Like, with a burning passion. So I just ignored the whole reply. I was just like, sorry, I know you like that game, but I can't stand it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You should do one for Aliens Colonial Marines.
No. The only Alien games I would do would be either Alien Isolation or the Alien trilogy from like way back in the day on like PS1, Sega Saturn.
Oh yeah,
I remember that game. It scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. We're not done with gameplay reveals yet, though, Moody. We've got one more. Because Outriders, which I definitely did the homework for and didn't do it at the last minute last night, did a live stream. They showed off like 25 minutes worth of stuff. For anyone that doesn't know, Outriders is an upcoming looter shooter from the people who made Bulletstorm. People Can Fly. Made Bulletstorm, they made Gears of War Judgment. And yeah, I thought it was interesting, so I want to add it in. Apparently, this is just the first one they're going to do of every month. They're going to do a monthly dev stream. And let me tell you why I care, Moody. You have your hand raised. Would you like to ask a question? I mean, I know you didn't watch it.
Thank you.
I can see it in your eyes. I can see it in your eyes that you didn't watch it.
Sorry.
I gave you this document 2 days early, Moody. 2 days early.
I know.
Because there was homework. Sorry. Because there was homework in it. And I knew you weren't going to watch Fast and Furious. I was fine with that. It's fine. But no. So, like, I mean, the reason I care is because I'm looking for a game like this. Like, so many years ago, after I was done with World of Warcraft, I spent 3 years wandering the landscape of MMOs, trying to find my next MMO. And let me tell you, I played a lot of MMOs in that time. MMOs that disappeared without trace. MMOs that no one's ever heard of. MMOs that I'm not even sure really existed. Because I mentioned some of the names and people just go, what?
What? What is this game you talk of?
Yeah, and it's like, I'm in that kind of phase now where it's like, I've got, like, we play a really good competitive online game. Right, multiplayer game, Apex Legends, and I'm happy with that. You know? But yeah. I also have room in my life for something that's not competitive. Like, it's cooperative, PvE gameplay. Like Destiny. Like, we played Destiny 2 for a few months. Myself, Keith, and someone else. Like, I have space in my life for a game like that. I just need to find one that I want to stick with. So I'm constantly in search for it. So I played like Deep Rock Galactic. I was hoping it would be good enough. It's good, but I was hoping it would be good enough that I could convince people to buy it. But I can't, in good conscience, say you should spend £30 on this game.
Yeah.
Like Outriders looks cool. It looks really cool. The stuff they showed the gameplay, which is like third-person shooter. They focused on monsters as opposed to like fighting other humanoid characters. The characters look really like powerful, like even at sort of lower levels, like the abilities that you get. They showed the pyromancer, he was like blowing shit up and setting shit on fire, and they showed what were they called? Trickster, who seems really cool. He's all about like manipulating time, so like slowing enemies down, teleporting across the map, doing bullet time stuff, making a clone that you can make a clone, you can run forward, you can attack a bunch of enemies. If shit gets too much, you hit the button and you go back to the clone. But there was some really cool stuff in there. Like, it's not a live service game. It's more like Borderlands in terms of it. It is a looter shooter that you can play like on and on and on and on. But it's not an online, persistent world, seasonal content kind of thing. The couple of things I wanted to mention that were really cool was the way difficulty works. In that you level up your character, obviously with XP, and you can like customize them with like there's like you can have different builds of like the same like in the same class. So you can have if everybody was playing the same class, you could still have like different play styles. But you also like you have a world tier system where you're leveling up the world tiers, and then obviously the world is getting harder and harder as you do so. And there's like 15, and you can change them at any point. So like you can change the world tier difficulty on the fly. If you're in a world tier and you're dying constantly, you will lose a portion of your world tier progress, which is designed so that you don't end up in a difficulty that's too difficult for you. Like, you don't end up in a situation where it's like the game's not fun. The game will just go, cool, and you're back down to like world tier 3 or whatever. I thought that was really cool. And the UI as well. So you can customize the entire user interface on the screen. So you can have it full of information, or you can just get rid of it all in a menu. There's like, they open the menu in the stream, and there's like 15, 20 different toggles. Like, you can literally turn off the entire UI if you wanted and just have it completely clean. But you can mix and match. So you can mix and match what information you want to see. Like, for example, like on the screen, because you've got your 3 abilities mapped to R1. That's my left hand. R1, L1, and then like L1 and R1. And it's like they're at the bottom of the screen to say, like, to remind you, like, I don't need that there. I can just turn that off and it's not there, and I'll still remember my abilities are there. Stuff like that. It looks cool. It looks like a cool game. I'd be interested to try out and hopefully get a squad. Get a squad together where I can do what I can do with my current Apex squad, which is I can just put a question mark in the group chat and summon everyone.
Hopefully.
Like, because I'm looking for it. I need one of those games in my life.
Yeah, I understand that. Like, I was hoping that would have been obviously Borderlands 3 last year, which obviously I thought was just it wasn't a good game overall. Like, I never completed it, which is very disappointing because I love Borderlands 2. Division 2, I enjoyed, but I just never got around to overall doing everything on it. I did not love any of the Destinies. I thought they were lazy, personally. I thought they were very lazy overall of how they were doing things. And Anthem was obviously a big giant slap in the face. Sadly. Hopefully they might fix that. Hopefully they will fix that.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully I didn't convince a lot of people to go on the Anthem journey with me, because I think I saw the writing on the wall before it came out, thankfully.
That is understandable. So, but I'll say this: I'll have a look at this after we finish playing Apex. After we finish recording this, I'll have a look at this, see what's it out, and I'll hit you up about it tomorrow. We'll have a talk.
Destiny 2, like for me and for Keith and for the other person we were playing with, it was so close to being that game that we could have played for a long time. Like, the Division 2, I feel like was close as well, but like, yeah. The Sea of Thieves is something I still play, but I don't really have very many people to play with, so it's something I don't play very often. Like, it's that kind of game that I'm looking for. Like, just an online thing where it's like, there's seasonal content, and you can just jump back into it every now and again, and do night, like, in terms of, because I'll say it in terms of Destiny 2, because that's probably the one that I've played the most of. Like, doing, like, Nightfall strikes every week, and sometimes jumping into the PvP, and doing all these missions, and doing this thing, and, yeah. I guess, Moody, I'm still looking for that MMO. I'm still looking for that game to fill the WoW-shaped void.
That's what we all want to say. Like, I was hoping that for all those games, and it just didn't work, sadly. But hopefully, like, the thing is, I think what's helping for you and me, especially, like we've been playing games a lot lately. Like, and I think we bought, and we obviously podcast a lot and everything like that. We've obviously got to know each other very well, and I think that's going to be a great thing to obviously get into and try, so we can both try it and give it a go. And hopefully Keith will follow us, and anyone else in the Words About Games team will follow us. Yeah, everything.
Like, I always have different squads for different games. Like Keith, amazingly, I don't know how I managed to get him to buy and play Destiny 2 with me, because we both played Destiny together because we both loved Bungie, because we both loved Halo.
Yeah.
I don't know what actually Halo isn't a past tense thing. We both do still love Halo. And like we played Destiny and we were just gutted at how disappointed we were with that game. Somehow 3 years later we still both ended up like, I got Destiny. I played it for review and I was like, God damn, this is actually pretty good. Like, and you know what it was? It lasted us like 3 months. Where we were playing it like 2-3 times a week. Doing all the night.
First Destiny or Destiny 2?
The second one. The second one.
Just made sure.
Like the three of us would like meet up. We'd play Crucible. We had a guild. Like we had the words about a games guild. And when I played Stadia, and went into Destiny, I looked and it was still the guild's still there. The motto
they won't get rid of it.
The motto was the motto, because it was the words about Games Clan. The tagline was the Dark Souls of Destiny clans, and the motto was loot boxes suck.
Respect.
And there was only 3 of us. It was literally just so we could get the extra whatevers you got. So I don't remember now. It was like 2.5 years ago. But yeah, like we'd play everything that game had to offer, and it was just one of those things where it was like new content didn't come fast enough for how fast we were playing the game. We were all going to meet up when the first expansion came out, but then the first expansion came out and it wasn't very good, so we didn't get it. No. And then, like, eventually, the first DLC, and then the first expansion comes out, and it's like, well, we're so far behind already, and we'd have to pay for the first expansion. It's like, no, it's not worth it. Like, and then we just didn't go back.
Yeah, I tried to play Destiny 2. I tried to get my mate Andy into it a couple of months ago before this whole craziness happened, and I was just thinking, we'll just go do the storyline because I've already played it. We'll get through that, and then we'll just go out and just do all this stuff. The game is how it's set up now. It's so confusing that I had no idea where the hell I was and what was going on or anything, and it just didn't. For me, it didn't explain things very well anymore, which is very disappointing. It's literally for me right now. They are building a game for the people who are still playing it, which is
fair enough, I guess, but.
It's fair enough. I can understand.
It is disappointing. Like I think it would probably make a lot more sense if you went back fresh, right? Because I did the same thing you did. I think when I went on a Stadia, I loaded up my character from when I had been playing it, so I'd finished almost all the content in the base game. Yeah, and I was like, I had no idea. Character. I had no idea where the fuck I was or what was going on, and like everywhere I went, all the enemies were just killing me in like 2 shots, and I was like, I don't know where I'm supposed to be going or what I'm supposed to be doing, because I've taken a 2.5 year break from this game. Shit.
Damn it.
But yeah, no, like I'm looking for my Destiny 2. Like I see like people like getting into like the Division 2 or like other games like that, and I'm just like, I want so bad to get into a game like this. I just haven't found it yet.
We can play Division 2 if you want. I've got it.
I've got it on PC, and it's a game I can play when I'm listening to like a few hours of podcasts, but it's not a game I think I could invest. Like if I was paying full attention to it, I don't think I'd actually be enjoying it that much. It's just something to do, and to be fair, I haven't done that for ages. Like I haven't actually played it since 2019. Like I don't think so. Like I think that's just done for me now. I was on like World Tier 3 or something, like just grinding the game up by myself, like, but because I got it free with my graphics card, I was like, on my processor, it was like everybody else got an Xbox, and I was like, like I own a copy of it on PC. Sorry guys, that's where I'm gonna play it.
Yeah. But yeah, you had it on the place where you had it actually. Yeah, you enjoyed it still. Like
I enjoyed it. Like it was on my Game of the Year list.
Make it your top 30? Yeah,
it was on my list. Game of the Year list. It was a fun game. Like I had to give it props for the fact that I must have played it for 60, 70 hours. Like the gameplay loop is satisfying enough that I can sit back and listen to whatever podcast I'm listening to, and I can just turn my brain off and shoot and do the cover and do all this other stuff. But like, if I was taking the game, like if I was playing it like I play Apex Legends, where it's like I'm just playing this game because I enjoy it, I think it would have probably not lasted very long.
Yeah.
Like,
That sucks.
yeah. Outriders though, I'm looking forward to that. Outriders and Avengers. Fingers crossed, one of those two games might be exactly what I'm looking for.
And I'll be there to have a look with you.
Hell yeah. Solidarity. It's convincing Keith that's the hard part. Apex was easy because it was made by the same people who made Titanfall. It's free. It was easy to get him in on that one. Go try and convince him to get Avengers. Like, oh, that's the trick.
Did he like the Tomb Raider games? Or are you just going to say he didn't play them, aren't you?
Did like the Tomb Raider games. We might be onto
So
something. But
there we go.
let's move on. We've got some news to talk about. We haven't really talked about any news. We've just talked about video games, and now we're into this podcast.
I know.
We should probably do some of the news.
Why not? Let's get into the news.
New PS4 games must also run on PlayStation 5 from July, Sony tells devs. This is from Tom Phillips over at Eurogamer, who writes, Sony has told PlayStation 4 game developers that any new titles submitted for certification must also be compatible with PlayStation 5 beginning July 13th. This means all PS4 games received by Sony for testing after the middle of that month are technically forwards compatible, playable on Sony's next-gen console, though it is up to each game's developer to ensure this is the case. Developer documentation, released on PlayStation's internal partner website and seen by Eurogamer, details an option developers must check to state their game has been tested for compatibility with PS5 hardware. The option was added at the end of April in a new version of Sony's PS4's software developer kit. Sony has told developers that it will contact them individually with details on how to test PS5 compatibility in the order of their various projects' release. Further documentation sheds light on what compatibility means. A game will be deemed compatible with PlayStation 5 only if its submission code runs without issues on Sony's next-gen machine and provides the same features on PS5 as it does on PS4. So, for example, a developer couldn't flag their game as PS5 compatible but not provide support for a certain mode on next-gen hardware. These developer notes also detail Sony's rules for patches to existing games and remasters of previously released titles. If a game was originally submitted to Sony before the 13th of July 2020, any new patch or remaster after that date would not require PS5 compatibility, but it would be strongly recommended. If a game was originally submitted to Sony after the 13th of July 2020, any future patch or remaster to that game would need to keep PS5 compatibility. Once a game is PS5 compatible, it must stay so. It's worth emphasizing that all of this applies to games submitted to Sony after July 13th, which is not the same as anything released after that date. Submissions are generally made well in advance of release to ensure Sony's certification team can approve the game in time. That's as clear as... I don't want to say mud, but it's definitely not clear.
No sense. That made no sense. I'm not going to lie.
So,
go on.
So, if you're submitting a game for certification to Sony after July 30th, it has to be compatible. It has to be playable on PlayStation 5. So, like, games usually get submitted, what, a month, 2 months ahead of their release date?
Give or take, yeah.
So, like, I guess what they're trying to say is any game that comes out on PS4 while the PS5's out has to be playable on both PS4 and PS5. I guess that's what they're aiming for.
Yeah, and if they can't give the same features, then they force them to go.
Usually, it's the other way around. That's what I think is partially confusing about that part, where it's like normally games that, like, if a game comes out on PS5 and PS4, it's usually the PS4 game that doesn't have some of the features. It's not usually the other way around. But if basically it has to be the same game at the very least on PS5 as it is on PS4.
Yeah. A complicated thing of how they've
worded it really complicated.
Worded it, yeah, but it's understandable. Eventually, PlayStation 5 games will eventually just be going on the PlayStation 5. Yes, it'll probably be say 18 months to 2 years when this is fully implemented to where they're no longer
nobody's gonna
given. Yeah.
without money or being a Sony first party studio, nobody is gonna pass up 104 million install base on PS5 to release on on PS4 to release on PS5 exclusively, which is gonna probably have constricted stock for the first few months that it's out. Like maybe 1 million. So you don't want to sacrifice 100+ million install base for 1 million.
Yeah, definitely there. I'm not gonna lie. It's like Xbox for the most part, they throw out things that are just like that. This is what we're doing. Boom. PlayStation's just like, this is what we're doing, but we're gonna go this. Then you're gonna turn a left, then you're gonna turn a right, then a left, then another left, then a right, then a left, up, down, right, XO, and it's like, I just want to get to McDonald's. Tell me where to go.
Like, actually, I can see it. I'll just
it's just there.
I can actually see the arch.
No, I can see the sign. We have to turn left. No, I see the sign. Go away.
It is a bit symptomatic of what we've talked about over the past few months of like PlayStation, like their messaging can be really confusing. Like they talked about, what was it? They backwards compatibility. They had to. Mark Cerny talked about it in his not GDC presentation, and then they had to put out 2 clarifying statements. When it's like, you could have just said it really simply instead of trying to say it like you're sounding like it's trying to sound like, when you're trying to sound clever by using big words, and it's like it's kind of like what PlayStation's doing, where it's like, just say the thing.
If he didn't say the word of some, we didn't say some.
No, it's like because he said, we've tested the top 100 games, so everyone went, so it's the top 100 games. And then they were like, no, it's not. No, that's what he said.
It's just like, just go away, man. It's just like, it's really irritating. Like I say, hopefully, they will not do this on Thursday, and it'll be simple, clarified perfectly with the games, just showing gameplay, telling us what's coming, and everything like that. Hopefully, show us the box. That'll be sexy. I would like to know if it's going to be, either way, if it could be the ugliest thing in the world, I'll probably still be buying it. Yeah. Just clarify your shit up, Sony. Come on. We know you can. You did it so simple with the PlayStation 4.
You remember that video you made? The video they made. It was the video about, here's how your friend borrows game. You just pass the discs. Like, that's what you need to do. That's how easy it is. Not this. Which basically is what I'm thinking, and what it seems to say is like, any game that comes out on the PS4 from probably like September time, let's say, like, needs to also be compatible with PS5, which means it needs to be able to be launched and played on PS5. Which kind of makes sense. There's going to be no more PS4 exclusive games. So anyone who has a PS5 is going to be able to play any game that also comes out on PS4. Which is good. So like Cyberpunk is going to be playable on PS5 because it has to be. Because those are the rules.
The only thing this doesn't clarify is if they doing that smart delivery thing. Yeah, that's the only thing it doesn't clarify. It kind of hints at it. That's thinking, could this literally mean? And they'll reveal it on Thursday saying,
this could mean anything. It could mean that. It could just mean because it even mentions remasters, and it could just be a case of It could just be a case of PS5 is going to be exactly the same as PS4, where it's like, cool, you're going to have to buy a Cyberpunk 2077 remaster. Like, you have to buy the game again on PS5, like you have for the entire of this generation. So it could mean that they're going to have some form of smart delivery, but it could also mean they're going to go in the opposite direction.
Could be 50-50. It's a 50-50 chance.
And I will have very strong words if they do go in the opposite direction. But for right now, because the reveal is 4 days away, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. But
if I think
check back on Friday.
I think if they don't clarify it on Thursday, I think that's them. For me, it's saying they're going in another direction. But they are a lot of going off for off people, insiders and all that, and rumors and all that they do believe PlayStation are going to have probably another thing coming, another event coming, a few shortly after this one on Thursday.
This isn't going to be the only thing. for sure.
Yeah, they're going to be having one pretty fast after it, showing more stuff. So, like this
Like,
one,
it's always
they've
been,
already
like,
said that.
in 2013, both companies had a console reveal followed by an E3 presentation, and that's all this is.
Yeah.
Both companies are might be doing it in slightly different order and a slightly different way because of everything that's happening, but they're both gonna have multiple shows to show us all of this stuff, because I think you can overload people with information if you try to have it all at once, and also by having multiple shows, it means people talk about it for longer, so you keep that momentum of messaging.
It's going to be very fascinating. Like I say, for me, they have to clarify it. Whatever one they want to pick, that's fine. I would prefer them to pick the Xbox One, what they're doing. But if they go to one, that's fine. You want to die on your sword, you do that. That's no problem. You both you and me. I'll say right now, just like you, we're both gonna have some strong words towards you, Sony. But if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But you're gonna get some
they're in
backlash.
danger. There's a danger zone at that point of actually being able to sort of look at an Xbox, and because back in 2013, right, just before, like probably a few months before the consoles came out, I went for a job at a local game. So I went for a job interview. It was a group job interview. I'd done sales for a few years at that point. Or just to let you know, I didn't actually accept the job that I was offered.
You offered it. Congrats. Even though
I didn't take it. The employer where I was employed at the time offered me a better contract, like in terms of hours, like guaranteed hours. So I stayed where I was. That was the only reason I went for the job in the first place. But when I went, it was a group interview, and one of the things you had to do was you had to sell. You basically, one of the staff members who worked at game would roleplay, like wanting to buy an Xbox for their kid. And what they were looking for was basically someone who would actually sell them an Xbox. As in, so do you cool, do you want to pay for it? Like, I'm not going to go through like how to sell something to someone, but basically a lot of people who were in that interview went off, looked at the checklist of what both the PS4 and the Xbox One did, or they already had it in their mind that the PS4 was a lot better than the Xbox One, and they would list features, or they would try to tell people, like this person who was playing a parent who was like, I want an Xbox because my kids have got Xbox, and they'd be like, well, why don't you get PS4? It does this and this and this and this. Long story short, that was a bad idea. You don't ever try and do that to someone who doesn't know anything about consoles. But they're in danger, like PS4 or PS5, if they go down the same road. Like if they don't have something that's like smart delivery, they don't deliver on like backwards compatibility, if they don't have a comparable service to xCloud, if they don't have a comparable service to Game Pass. You see where I'm going with this? Like, you look at those checklist boxes, and all of a sudden it's like, well, Xbox can do this, 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 and this, and all PlayStation has is this, this, and this. Like, there's a danger of optics of them suddenly not having a lot of features, and that an Xbox does have. Like, we're going to talk about it in a sec, with the Xbox news that came out, where it's like one of the things that Xbox is going to be able to say at launch is, if you buy an Xbox Series X, you are going to be able to play thousands of games from launch day, because backwards compatibility allows you to play everything that's on Xbox One, a lot of things that are on Xbox 360, and quite a few games that are from the original Xbox.
Same thing what PlayStation said on the PlayStation 4 reveal event, basically, with Gaikai.
Yeah, and that never happened. Okay, we're probably not going to talk about the Xbox Series X news at this point, but basically, they're doing backwards compatibility. They're adding suspend and resume to backwards compatible games, and the backwards compatible games are all going to run natively, so you're not going to have to open a virtual Xbox 360 inside your Xbox anymore. It's all just going to run in the same thing, which is phenomenal. Like, as someone who's tried to play backwards compatible games on Xbox One before, that's a really good. That is actually better than it sounds. Like, I got a really frustrating situation last week where I decided I wanted to play Resident Evil 3, not the new one. That would have been frustrating for an entirely different reason. Resident Evil 3 from 1999. And I went on the PlayStation Store, and it's there. I can buy it, and I would have been happy to buy it, except it only works on PS3 or PlayStation Vita. I was like, well, I don't have either of those things anymore. And like, even if I had my Vita still, like, I can't stream from it, like, was my intention. So I then had to go through the steps of emulating and setting that up. And you were in the stream, you saw the problems I had at the beginning, and I was like troubleshooting on the fly, trying to do all that stuff. I'd been going for an hour and a half trying to set all that shit up to make sure it worked as well as it did when I first started the stream. And it's like a really simple solution that would have made PlayStation, whatever the cost of the freaking sale was, would have been if it had just worked on PlayStation 4. Because I would have just bought it, downloaded it, played it. And I would do that with loads of games. Like, I would love to check out Dino Crisis again. I would love to check out Parasite Eve 2 again. I'll love to check out Resident Evil 1 and 2.
I've already said it. Go and check on the last video we did, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, but even if there is a remake, that just gives me more incentive to play the old one, make a video about it. But like I did with Resident Evil 3, like with Xbox, I can do that, and it's weird that Xbox has like Halo and Gears, right, and Forza, let's say, and Fable, but like they don't have. No offense to Microsoft or Xbox, they don't have a massive depth of beloved classic games tied to their ecosystem. PlayStation do, and it's Xbox that seems to be concerned with game preservation, whereas PlayStation don't seem to give two fucks.
Mm-hmm.
And that is really frustrating for someone who like would love to have access to PlayStation 1 games still, without having to find a freaking PlayStation 1. And buy one or emulate it on a computer, which, you know, the legality of that for starters is a bit iffy. And also it's really difficult to make it work properly. I just wish PlayStation gave a fuck, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing about, like, there's no defense against it. Like, they got smashed over crossplay when it came to Fortnite and all like that. And if they don't, like I've been saying for a while, I think they should do a Game Pass thingy, change their PlayStation Now to a full-on Game Pass thingy, and just come out and then just say they've got all these games. They're like, the marketing thing would be phenomenal to come out and say we have thousands of games.
Yeah,
here they are.
Yeah, like
ready to go.
They wouldn't even need to have the thousands of games ready for the launch of the PS5 if they just did the rebrand and changed it and said, "Cool, right? Here's how it works right now." But by the time the PS5 comes out, every first-party PlayStation game that was released on PS4 is going to be available on PlayStation Now. So there you go, right there, straight away. You're like, buy a PS5 and get PlayStation Pass, let's say. Yeah. And you're going to have access to God of War and Horizon Zero Dawn, Spider-Man, right there out of the box. And then it's like, okay, and as time goes on, we're going to be doing what Xbox have been doing for the last few years. We're going to be adding more games via backwards compatibility from the PlayStation 3, from the PlayStation 2, from the PlayStation 1. We're going to be adding, like, some of the most beloved games of all time. That were tied to former PlayStation hardware. That sounds amazing. They need to do it, but they need to do it because the longer that messaging is on one side and not the other, I feel like the more danger there is of people just going, well, I can play thousands of games on this console, or like 5 on this one. Yeah,
It's going to be fascinating, like you say. It's going to be fascinating what our mood's going to be. Because obviously we're going to be watching it on Thursday, and then we don't do our video until Friday, because obviously that's how late it is.
And yeah.
And see how we mull over it, and continue until we do our video and everything on Friday. Yeah. It's going to be very fascinating. I'm crossing fingers that they blow us away and everything. They explain why to the hardcore gamers you should be buying this, and explain to the casual gamers why you should be buying this, which is obviously the FIFA, the Call of Duty, and all like this, and Fortnite. they do that. They've got the golden, but they need to come out and literally say something with the backup compatibility thing and everything. They need to sort that out. They need to do shit. They do. That's the thing about it. They haven't been talking, and that's the thing why we're irritated and why we're both getting irritated by them. Like, you've got all these. The list of what you've just thrown off is completely perfect and fact checked and everything. Where you're just like, you need to do this. You should be doing this. You should be doing that, and everything like that. All of this will stack up and hurt you if you do not do this. Now as you're going to start talking PlayStation next week, you need to start talking. You need to be talking properly. It's going to be fascinating. It really is. It's going to be fascinating. Our mood when we record the next episode of this podcast.
Yeah. Well, we're recording a special video on Friday morning, which will be out on Friday, sometime before all of the other shows that start on Friday. And then obviously there'll be a podcast after the weekend, so it'll be interesting to see that. Moody, we haven't got time, but I can't skip it. Someone's made a Barnard Castle driving game in dreams. This is from Emma Kent over at Eurogamer, who writes, "The devil works hard, but dreams creators work harder, as within only a day of Dominic Cummings' press conference in the Rose Garden of Number 10, someone has already made a mini game to mock one of his most infamous statements. The Prime Minister's chief advisor, Dominic Cummings, has defended a return trip he made from London to Durham during the height of lockdown restrictions in the UK, after both he and his wife had developed symptoms of COVID-19. During his time in Durham, Cummings claimed he had driven 30 minutes to Barnard Castle, quote, to see if he could drive safely back to London after his eyesight seemed to have been affected by the disease, end quote. Naturally, large swaths of the internet decided to have some fun with this claim, and apart from writing fake TripAdvisor reviews for Barnard Castle, it seems at least one person has converted the statement into a minigame. Dominic needs to get back to work, but his eyes have gone all weird, reads the description for 30 miles to Barnard Castle. Best drive to Barnard Castle with his kid just to make sure it's a safe drive to London. Created by Stevie128K, the game requires the player to avoid a variety of obstacles while driving at high speed towards Barnard Castle, all with foggy vision, coughing noises, and a loud child in the back as distractions. There's even a timer if you feel like challenging yourself to a speedrun.
Game gods. I love this. Well done, sir. Well done. Steve128K, thank you, sir. You are a true saint. I think you should be knighted for this and everything. It's just absolutely phenomenal. It's brilliant. I love this. Respect.
I need to play Dreams again.
This
article has reminded me that I haven't played Dreams for a couple of months.
Yep. I think you should stream
when I stream Dreams, obviously I'll play this. I could go on and on about how, and I have on Twitter, if anybody follows me on Twitter, about how fucking ridiculous the situation in the United Kingdom is at the moment, but yeah, 30 minutes to Barnard Castle. Jesus. Well played, Stevie128K. I got so many messages off people who know I do this stuff. And I was just getting messages where people were like, "Have you seen what someone's made?" And I was like, "Yes, I've seen what someone's made."
Of course I have.
But it was interesting. It would be people who don't talk about games because they're not really gamers, but they'd be like, "Look," and I'd be like, "Ah!" It's like bringing us together in this COVID lockdown time. Moody, there's been a few announcements this week, and I do not know how I'm going to handle this section of the podcast next week. I'm going to need to work something out, because this is going to be 3 pages.
Take the PlayStation 1 out.
Yeah, but this one...
next week.
Yeah. But for this week, the announcements are No Man's Sky is heading to Game Pass in July. Harvest Moon One World is heading to PS4 and Switch this fall. Fast and Furious Crossroads is delayed to August 7th. Factorio is leaving early access on August 15th. Fun fact, that's actually 5 weeks earlier than it was originally announced, and they're coming out 5 weeks earlier to avoid Cyberpunk. That is the developer literally said that. It was like, it's not a good idea for anyone to release next to a game that big, so we're not gonna. Summer in Mara is releasing on PC via Steam and Switch on June 16th. Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1 is coming next year to PC and current and next-gen consoles. No Straight Roads has been delayed to late summer 2020. Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge has been announced for VR headsets. Goosebumps Dead of Night is coming this summer to PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. The PS Plus games for June will be Call of Duty World War II and Star Wars Battlefront 2. And then games with gold for June are Shantae and The Pirate's Curse and Destroy All Humans on June 1st, and Coffee Talk and Sign Mora on June 15th. And lastly, there's been a Sonic the Hedgehog movie sequel announced.
Congrats. Like, a shout out to No Man's Sky. Like, they've worked their asses off to make that game.
It's a really good game now. Yeah, they've turned it around.
Yeah, friend of ours, Stu.
Stu convinced me to play it again and stream it. When Next came out, I streamed it for like 3 weeks because Stu got me back like into it.
Yeah, it's respect to them. Like, congratulations to that. I'm so happy for them. But apparently, I don't know the full on thing about it, but I only saw like a couple of things. Like, apparently how PS Plus games were revealed was completely weird this week or something. They like dropped one and then they dropped the other one like a couple of days later.
They dropped one May 26th, I think it was. Call of Duty World War II got dropped early, basically. And then Battlefront 2, when Battlefront 2 wasn't even announced at that point, like, that was weird.
It's weird that that's both two first-person shooters.
This is what I said on Twitter. I got a little bit of pushback when I said this, but I said on Twitter, like, it's weird that they've released basically, like, I know it's one's a World War II shooter and one's a Star Wars shooter, but they've basically released two of the same game, almost, and, like, that seems really strange to me. But
game
I mean, fair play.
Mechanics-wise, they play the same, ladies and gentlemen. I'll say that right now. I am a person who's studying game mechanics. They play the goddamn same. They may look different, but they play the goddamn same. So don't even dare get on with this with me. But yeah, it was really weird. Like I say, I can understand if it was one this month, and the other one next month, or something like that. But yeah. Games of Gold. Like I'm looking forward to Coffee Talk. I know you played it. You had a lot of fun with it.
I did. It's good. It's a cool little visual. I played it on. Played it at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, and Sonic the Hedgehog movie sequel. I knew it was going to happen. They made money. Congratulations! I was so happy that they did make money. Like, I had a lot of fun with it. I thought the game was an enjoyable little fun game. Oh, not game, film. Can't say anything. It was good. It was very good. It's only disappointing thing is how much more would it have made if it wasn't for the pandemic? Because obviously the cinemas all shut and everything. But we'll see.
Yeah,
I'm happy. And going off what the end credit scene is for that film,
haven't seen it yet, so
hinting at some future things which could be very intriguing for people.
Are you gonna have to take the DVD of the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie and then put the DVD of the next Sonic the Hedgehog movie on it and then put them both in at the same time?
Possibly.
Old school gaming references right there. Sonic and Knuckles. I fucking love that. You got the Sonic and Knuckles cartridge, you flipped it open, you put another Sonic game in there on top. Oh, mate. Play Knuckles and Sonic the Hedgehog 1. What up? I remember that shit. I'm old school. Summer of Mara looks quite cool as well. I'm hoping to get a code for it, but if not, I'll get it one way or another. But apart from that, yeah, you've said everything I would want to say. No Man's Sky is a really good game. Like, if you've got Game Pass, it costs you nothing to download it. You might as well check it out. I'd be interested to see what else is heading to Game Pass in July. Because I feel like this summer's going to be a big one. There's going to be a lot of game demos as well from Xbox in July. Goosebumps Dead of Night. A Goosebumps video game. Part of me knows it's not going to be great, but another part of me is just like, I still want to play it though, because I used to love Goosebumps.
Yeah,
I love Goosebumps when I was a kid.
First film's not bad. Jack Black, not bad at all. It's actually adorable, little charming. Predictable, nice. But I was thinking, you know what, this is not bad. I'm actually having fun with this. And it's all Jack Black. Jack Black's brilliant.
Yeah, Jack Black's just fun. It's time for the content drop, Moody. This is a section of the podcast where we basically give you some homework. We give you some videos to watch. I may not do it. And you I know Moody won't. We give you some movies to watch. We give you we don't give you some movies to watch, that would be crazy because this is a gaming podcast. We give you some videos to watch, we give you some articles to read. Stuff that we have found throughout the course of the week that we think is pretty cool, pretty interesting, but isn't something we're going to be able to discuss on a podcast like this. First up, we've got Gaming's Lost Boys Embrace Their Inner Censor. This is an article over at gamesindustry.biz, which talks about how best to describe this. It talks about the free speech gaming crowd celebrating the censorship of The Last of Us in other countries and how hypocritical and paradoxical that is. It's a good way to describe it. Good job, Amy. Nailed it. Next up, 9 questions I have about that weird box-breaking game in Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is over on Kotaku, and it asks some very pointed questions about a certain minigame in Final Fantasy VII Remake. A museum expert weighs in on Animal Crossing New Horizons Museum, which I thought was interesting, over at Kotaku. We got a new no-clip documentary, The Untold History of Arkane. I watched it earlier this week. It's fantastic. Not only does it talk about Dishonored, Prey, and some of Arkane's older games, but it also talks about 3 cancelled games that Arkane worked on, including one with Steven Spielberg and Half-Life spin-off episode that they worked on that never came out, called Ravenholm, which they actually play in the documentary.
Cool.
The last 2, we have the Resident Evil 3 remake Shrek over Nemesis video. Someone has modded out Nemesis and replaced him with Shrek. And it's actually pretty fucking terrifying. Like opening reveal bit, where like you're in Jill's apartment and she's been knocked down, and like Nemesis just like reveals his face for the first time. It's just Shrek. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Check it out. And the last one is a tweet. A wholesome moment we all need right now, which is the world record, the new world record all of Super Mario 64, and a clip from his Twitch stream when he actually got the world record, and his parents busted it. It was a whole thing. It's like a 49-second long video. It's
adorable.
It's adorable. I teared up a little bit. It's really cool.
We all need that little bit of happiness in our lives right now.
Yeah, it's really nice. Moody, there are games coming out this week. Do you want to hear about them?
Why not? Because I'm going to buy one of them.
Ooh.
If my partner allows me.
Fair enough. On June 2nd, we have Command & Conquer the Remastered Collection coming to PC. Command & Conquer and Red Alert are both remastered in 4K by the former Westwood Studios team members. Includes all 3 expansions, rebuilt multiplayer, a modernized UI, map editor, bonus footage gallery, and over 7 hours of remastered music. Also on June 2nd, we have Valorant coming to PC. Imagine this, tactical shooter meets hypernatural powers. Everyone's got guns and a unique set of abilities, so how do you beat someone with the speed of wind? Use your own moves to outplay them and beat them to the shot. Valorant is a game for bold strategists who dare to make the unexpected play, because if it wins, it works. Also on June 2nd, we have Liberated coming to Nintendo Switch. Join the revolution in this comic adventure shooter. Let the hand-drawn art and action unite in a noir cyberpunk story. Fight the system, sneak and solve puzzles, and dispense picturesque headshots. For great justice. Picturesque headshots, Moody. That's a nice turn of phrase. On June 4th, I hope you like cycling, because we've got Pro Cycling Manager 2020 coming to PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Become the manager of a cycling team and take them to the top. You'll need to manage finances and recruitment, plan your training, implement your strategy, and, due for this edition, look after your cyclists and their morale. Also, on June 4th, we have Tour de France 2020 on PS4 and Xbox One. Compete against the peloton in all 21 stages of the Tour de France in the official game. To wear the yellow jersey, you'll need to take risks, attack, sprint, and perfect your race tactics. Challenge your friends in downhill or sprint challenge mode. Then, on June 5th, The Outer Worlds comes to Nintendo Switch. Lost in transit while on a colonist ship bound for the furthest edge of the galaxy, you awake decades later, only to find yourself in the midst of a deep conspiracy threatening to destroy the Halcyon colony. As you explore the furthest reaches of space and encounter various factions all vying for power, the character you decide to become will determine how this player-driven story unfolds. In the corporate equation for the colony, you are the unplanned variable. And lastly, also on Nintendo Switch on June 5th, 51 worldwide games. Clear the table and settle down with friends and family to enjoy a diverse collection of timeless favourites in person or online in 51 worldwide games. From ancient board games to modern classics, relaxing solitaire games to fast-paced toy sports, experience the games that have shaped cultures around the world. There's a few games coming out. A few games. Which one are you buying?
Command &
Conquer. I was like, Outer Worlds, but I was like, you're not buying
work.
Outer Worlds because you already got Outer Worlds on Game Pass. Yeah.
And I didn't enjoy it that much, so.
I thought you were going to throw me a total curveball and just be like, dude, friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do that cycling.
Yeah, I did my cycling, yeah. No, Command & Conquer, I used to love Command & Conquer Red Alert. I just hope it works on my PC.
It should be fine. It should be fine. Yeah.
Well, my
Remasters
partner
tend to
just
be
tried to play
scalable.
it. Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. It'll come to consoles eventually anyway.
Probably, yeah, but I'm looking to pose it, get a new PC anyway, so eventually.
New PC, new PS4,
Hopefully.
like, oof. You know
That's the thing about Xbox. I don't need to worry about the Xbox Series X right now. I'm just like, you know what? I'm good.
That is true, actually. Yeah, it's like at least you don't need to worry about Xbox Series X.
Yeah.
Until
I do not have to worry about that.
Whenever. It turns out I actually didn't update OpenCritic head-to-head, so I'm just quickly doing that right now.
I think it's 89, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It was more just the rest of the information. I'll fix that later. So it's time to play OpenCritic head-to-head, in case you didn't guess. This is the weekly game that myself and Mr. Moody play every week. We try to guess the OpenCritic average of one upcoming game. Whoever gets closest to the final score at the time of recording gets 1 point. If you manage to guess the score completely correctly, you get 2 points. Last week, myself and Mr. Moody tried to guess the OpenCritic average of Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. I guessed it would get an 85. Moody also guessed it would get an 85. Insisted he would be the one to change his score, not me, and then changed it to an 84. At the time of recording, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition has an OpenCritic average of 89, which puts the current scores at Amy 10, Moody 7. I've guessed closest so far this year on Dreams, Warcraft 3, One Punch Man, Half-Life Alyx, Resident Evil 3, Gears Tactics, Legends of Runeterra, Deep Rock Galactic, Mania, and Xenoblade Chronicles. Moody has guessed closest on Zombie Army 4, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, XCOM Chimera Squad, and guessed the complete correct score for Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. I mean, at least you can say you're the only person so far this year who's guessed the one score spot on. But yeah, I mean, you were in the lead a few weeks ago, so...
I'm very indifferent with this one because obviously this is close. There's two things. This one, it widens the gap between us on this, but it closes the gap
on
the
Fantasy
one.
Critic.
Yeah.
Which we'll be having a new episode of Fantasy Critic after Last of Us reviews drop. So be a couple of weeks out. But yeah, it's like Moody. How does it feel knowing that at the beginning of May, I was losing? I was losing this game. And then at the end of May, this podcast goes out on the first day of June, and I've got a 3-point lead. I've pulled it back. I'm on a roll. Ain't no stopping me now.
Ain't no stopping you now.
But we'll
Why?
see.
You're like, what, 5 in a row? You were 2 points behind me, if I remember rightly. So yeah, you've got 5 in a row. Right.
Gears Tactics, Legends of Runeterra, Deep Rock Galactic, Mania, and Xenoblade Chronicles. I got all of those. One after the other.
So you've had 5 in a row. You've
Gears
been on a winning streak.
Gears was the week after XCOM, which was the last one you got.
Should have learned from my lessons with Gears.
You should have gone up and not down. You should. Do you know what? What you should have done, Moody, is you should have let me change my score because I would have gone down. I even said I'll change my score. You went, no, I'll do it. I was like,
No, that was I thought I'll be a gentleman because you changed the score on the last one when we tied, and I thought it would be unfair.
and I won. In fairness,
God damn me, being a gentleman.
That was Gear's
Damn
tactics.
being brought up right by my parents.
Yeah, that was Gear's tactics, which I also guessed. Because you moved my score up. You actually told me to go up on that one, if I remember correctly. But anyway, enough about the past. Let's talk about next week. This week, we are going to guess the OpenCritic average of Command & Conquer Remastered Edition. Moody's already guessing 85. As always, Moody, as you know, I always write down my answer before you say yours. Just so people don't think I'm basing my answer off your answer. 82. That is what I'm guessing for that one. I was going to go higher because it's Command & Conquer, but I'm hedging my bets a bit because I remember what happened to Warcraft 3.
Yeah, I was tempted that as well. I was a little curious by that one. There was no doubt about it, but it does. I'm taking a risk with this one. I won't lie, because this is EA. The EA could literally do an Activision Blizzard and literally throw out a crap fest like what was Warcraft 3.
Warcraft 3, yeah.
But
maybe. But you know what I said, Moody?
I'm risking it for a chocolate biscuit.
Risk it. You say risk it for a chocolate biscuit. I say if I go out shooting for the moon, expecting the best out of every game, I'll be happy with that.
Oh, I'm risking it for these cheese toasties that my partner bought me.
I don't know if we're going to do a post-show discussion today. Not because of the food. It's just we've ran on a bit long. I don't really have anything I want to talk about related to like video games and stuff.
No, it's like this week has kind of been very depressing.
Yeah, and I don't want to force it. You know what I mean? Like, I think that defeats the purpose of having a conversation about whatever. It's like, well, I don't want to have a conversation about whatever.
Yeah.
So why force it?
I think I wrap it up for us, and then I eat my toasties. You do whatever you did, and we come back and play some Apex Legends.
Don't forget, everybody. 2 things not to forget. 1, Friday, June 5th, is where we're going to do our PlayStation 5 reveal event impressions. So don't wait for next week's podcast expecting us to do it in that podcast, because we're not going to do it. We'll be talking about plenty of other stuff, Guerrilla Collective, IGN stuff, but we won't be talking to PS5. That'll have already happened. 2, don't forget about the 2 links in the description below the video to the two fundraisers, the Minnesota Bail Fund and the George Floyd Memorial Fund. I'm suddenly really self-conscious that I might have gotten his name wrong. No, I was like George Floyd Memorial Fund. I would have fucking I would have hated myself if I'd have gotten that wrong. Yeah, there are links in the description down below. Black Lives Matter.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Should I wrap it up for us?
Yeah, sure. I was already going to hit stop. Go for it.
Oh, no. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Words About Games podcast. You've had myself, David Moody, and you had the amazing and beautiful Amy Alexander talking about all things video games. The Last of Us Part 2. That was absolutely fantastic. Go check it out when you get a chance and everything like that. I think what Amy just said, go give those people those support. They need it. They deserve it. # Black Lives Matter. Let's get out of here, Amy, and so I can have my cheese toasties.